nigger organization and complain because the black troops of Troop 54 didn't get black badges. It's true. And like Hitler said, what did Hitler say to Churchill? You take them stovepipes out of the war and we'll kick your asses. That's what Adolf Hitler told Churchill. Who's the stovepipes? He's talking about these dumb Moors who keep claiming to be niggers, who got in them planes and start shooting down all them German planes, and they was called red tails.
That's it.
Kick their keystores. Because nobody beats the Moors. It's just they don't know who they are. They keep on serving Rome, then complain what Rome does. They're full of it. Then turn around and call him great white father. They're just shortened, white man. Then he acts like sovereign, which is what that means. Has nothing to do with complexion. Then they want to march and complain, start another nigger organization. And fund it. They do. We're full of it. And see, we need to, if we're going to fix things, we need to stop being hypocrites.
And be realistic.
Yeah. And defending what in our heart we know is a fraud. And then wanting a good outcome. One of the supreme signs of insanity is for a person or people to do the same thing over and over again, looking for a different result.
There you go. That's it.
And the history has proven that the stuff that we've been doing don't damn work to complete your.
Well, how do you store them?
By stop feeding them. Let me give you an example. Let me give you a perfect example. This is an active thing. Now, hold on.
Wouldn't it be best that we nationalize and just take back the
yeah,
power?
because what happens is when you nationalize, the instruments that they have in the name that they called yours is no longer valid when someone buys it. So the derivatives, they become dead paper.
Right.
Because the whole bond system is predicated on you.
That's the purpose of the name correction. Declaration.
To take away the-
If I'm not mistaken.
Exactly. First, your status must be corrected for you to even have an argument.
To take away
Now,
that-
the Inquisition Revenue Services is called the IRS. It's really the Internal Revenue Services set up by Woodrow Wilson. So, as an example here, you will see a counter of not feeding the beast. You ask, here's an example. Oscar Hosang Il, heir by birthright and primogeniture, and authorized representative, natural person, living, sentient, divine being, and propria persona su juris su heredis, in solo proprio, ex relation, Oscar Hosang, private estate, man of straw, transmitting utility, care of, and you see those locations, right? You don't say Trenton City, it says Trenton Territory, brings it back to the earth. New Jersey State Republic, don't say State of New Jersey, does it?
No, it does not.
Zip exempt, 086110, box, via United States Republic, North America, non-domestic, non-resident, non-subject, via United States Mail, North America, Northwest of Mexico. Right? To Allison Sigler, foreign person, agent for IRS. Doing business as the foreign private for profit corporate entity Internal Revenue Service, 50 West Street, 12th floor, Trenton, New Jersey, Incorporated, 08608. Reference to the foreigner, IRS agent Allison Sigler's unlawful visit to a private estate property, northwest of Mexican land of the Moors, Moorish Americans, heirs by birthright. Mail communication location, corporately known as 58 Churchill Avenue, Trenton Territory, northwest of Mexican, private property and estate of Oscar Hosang, small case, ill. This written notice mens rea shall serve refutably to bring to fore the unlawful de facto futile trespass and unconstitutional impromptu and uninvited visit to and upon my property of personal private estate property on day 23 January 2015 AD 1435 c.c.y. That's Morris County year. The said violations and transgression was perpetrated by the foreign person agent Allison Sigler, absent of nationality identity document, and absent of verifiable delegation of authority order, and claiming to be an agent operating for and out of the private foreign agency entity styled as Internal Revenue Service. The intruder also alleged to possess authority to impose herself upon my private estate, property and estate, acting mens rea, with the unlawful and threatening intent of extorting finances from me, after Hosan, heir of my own private property and estate in solo proprio. But anyway, as an entry you can see. So all of your correspondence will be in this kind of nature. Now, prior to this, a couple of years back, where the IRS was coming after he has a company where he does medical service stuff. And against his private account, they came at both of them. And some of you, a couple of years ago, seen the correspondence between, in the same nature, to the IRS, and they say, according to your documents, we agree that you're not liable to the tax. So what happened is, it all disappeared. So was he feeding the beast?
No.
So what happens to most of these people, according to, in April, they feed the Queen of England pretending that they're not. Via the United States Internal Revenue Service, pretending that they know Jesus and Allah and Muhammad. Knowing that they serve the Queen of England, and then want to be and complain and march all over the place when they catch hell. Which sanctions them. And they give Reverend Jones a few in the name of Jesus, and he's working for the Pope. Lying on Jesus. Funding their own enslavement, then complaining, then start a new nigger organization to deal with the new symptoms of the new headache they got. Because the other one didn't work. So if you're dealing with an octopus, and you keep on wanting to hug all the time, start cutting off the tentacles. The head can't do much if tentacles can't pull you in. So you don't have big power to beat the octopus, but got a penknife. Start sticking them tentacles. And if everybody starts sticking the tentacles, octopus start going hungry, don't he? But he keep letting them suckers grab you. He said, they're racist. No, there's birthright there. No, I said they're racist. While they're talking, they're sucking your blood. Now you can keep on playing these ridiculous Negro games, or you can start getting real because there's birthright there. And this is really what it is. And our people, they keep on being in denial. European is in power because they keep empowering. Go ahead. Give them the mic. Was your question answered? I mean, satisfactory? Yeah, go ahead.
Y'all was saying that what you were saying,
Right.
the exceptions.
If we did all nationalize,
For a start, it's not if we did.
or
We have an obligation to do.
Okay.
We can choose to honor or we can choose not
We
to.
do all that.
There's a consequence.
I'm down with what I'm saying.
No, but I'm just saying, we're talking collectively as a people.
Right.
See, this is what our people do not understand. The law that trumps the Roman law is called the common law.
Yes.
The benefit that the people keep seeking is the benefit of common law protection. They're under Roman law and what is called the Roman Curia and the canon law. The canon law is the template that was used for the unum sanctum hypothecation and the construction of the straw man. Now, the deal is, you can't serve two masters. They've been serving Rome. Rome is empowered. They've been pretending that they're loving Jesus, knowing that that in their heart, knowing that Reverend Jones has been going to the Bahamas with Bertha. And the whole thing, it really is always been that. Everybody in their heart know that. And they keep pretending and lying to children, generations after generation, that Jesus got a bank account at Chase Manhattan, and that the tithing is for God, and all this stuff, and it's God's house is always leaking and stuff. Really believing that stuff, and then promoting it to their children. They're really paying Rome, who's administrating the local jurisdictions, to regulate human rights, chattel, property. Or you got to look at the congressional records. Even look at even when Clinton did their budget for the cycle, human capital. It's documented. They don't even damn hide it.
Right.
You know, and it's, we keep funding our own enslavement and complaining what the European is doing. We keep feeding him. That's why the Russian world had to jump in and start killing the bonds, because we keep on wanting the benefit of liberty and keep supporting the U.S. democracy. It's like keep poisoning the well. I'm talking about, how come the children keep getting sick? What we need is our own Negro aspirins and filters. Well, stop peeing in the well. Go over there in the bushes somewhere.
Now, would
You
they
know,
have to
it's
pay
like
us
banging
tribute?
people, banging their heads on the corner of the building all the time, talking about what black people need is our own aspirin factory. You know, you need to stop banging your head on the wall. How about that? You don't need aspirin.
Right.
Duh.
Yeah, when we all nationalize, would they have to pay us tribute to keep operating their businesses?
Isn't it called us enforcing the Constitution, which should have been done decades ago, and we haven't done it?
Right.
Not only have we not done it, half the people never even daggone read it. And it's the supreme law of the land. Supreme law of the land. They keep hiring barristers because they can't present themselves, so they're always being represented and robbed and then complaining. Is this not true?
It's very true. I just wanted to assist
Go ahead.
because I was watching
Good.
last couple of days. Your perceptions and assumptions video, Brother Nunaj Gill had posted just about what you did last year, and another part to his question
Yeah.
that I saw to answer that you actually said in that video was the 12 USC 95A Part 2.
Yes. The debt is theirs.
Yeah.
Oh,
The debt is theirs. And do our people charge them with breach of trust and convert the debt to them?
No, we haven't. Not us. We haven't.
No. Now listen. When Drawley told us to help him in missionary work to enforce the Constitution, he's telling you to declare your right of a state.
Well, in that case, yes.
Now, if you're not going to declare your right of a state, what did he say? In another way, he said it like this. He says, if you're not going to carry out the law, take off your turban and fez.
Right.
Get back your car and button. Go back to the state where the prophet found you. Why? Because if you're not going to enforce the law, you're an enemy to the cause
Right.
of lifting your own people. People keep on trying to make the Moorish Science Temple sound like it's some kind of belief system. When it's a platform for the reversion of the world's largest estate. And why do they stay away from this side of the argument, which is called the national side of the movement? It's called the COINTELPRO operations. Why do you think half of them don't like Taj Tarik?
Because it neutralizes the BS.
Because what happens when you educate people, it shows you all traitors. Doesn't matter what they claim to be. Because you're dealing with maxims and principles. Once you deal with maxims and principles, it matters not who says anything. You, by their works, you shall know them. By their words, and their deeds. You know, and so what you have today is many Europeans exposing a lot of the truth because the middle class is being dissolved, not because they all of a sudden got moral. But at the same time, they're exposing information, but what it does is exposes also their black leaders who have been misleading their own people in all these so-called black organizations. That's why they don't want this information out, because as the Pope and the minions are being destroyed, being exposed, at the familiars, their tentacles get exposed. And that's what these imams, rabbis, you understand, reverends and grand sheiks and sheikesses, anyone who has not been carrying out the law, because that's where the people's problem has been. So how do you want to talk about these people's rights and not tell how it was stolen?
That's right.
Because that's the platform. That is the platform. It's not a belief. And then why do you think they stay away from congressional records showing the clergy's oath? So these people know all these clergies was really worshiping the Pope, and they've been telling the people all these years that their 501c3 was teaching the word of the Lord of Jesusness in the sky type thing.
All denominations.
And then who been defending them? Cousins and aunts and husbands and wives and everybody's, and because they black guys in the neighborhood. See, these things are ugly. See, we don't like to see ourselves as the ugly hypocrites that we really are. It's just that what this has become to the following generations is quite ugly.
Yes, it is.
And it comes from us following after the Romans, pretending that we was loving Jesus and Muhammad. And that's the truth, but nobody wants to admit it because we're caught. See, information, when it slays the naivety, the people can no longer deny. Do you understand? See, as long as they can deny and keep on making excuses that they didn't understand, but that's BS. There ain't no such thing as you not understanding. If you know about God and the dark side of the moon, Jesus, what the Bible really meant, and see what Moses really did when he threw down the stick of the Lord, and it really was a snake, and you know all that stuff. Come on. Don't tell me you don't know this. This is contemporary. But they're going to get all metaphysical with you. Tell you an analysis, see, because the 7 books, the 9 books of Moses that they removed from the Bible. You see, I got that. You understand what I'm saying? I got the book of the dead from Egypt. I got that. Metu Netu and all that stuff. I got all that kind of sandwiches and stuff. Y'all got stuff, why ain't you got no lunch? You know, we're full of it. We need to understand that the world don't take us serious while we keep on making excuses. But the problem is, I'm not knocking anything. All I'm saying is, the storm's over now. And they can be in denial all they want, because they ain't got a lot of time, because everything they got is going to be taken. Because Rome is going to liquidate these people to liquidate their debt. And they can't do it. It's so insurmountable. Meanwhile, don't mean they ain't going to sacrifice these people, because they damn sure are. And if they're in them black codes, they're going to be black. Because they have absolutely no protection whatsoever. And even the conscious have limited protection, because the blood's going to come up to the bridles of horses. To the seraphim are going to have to interject to intercede, which is what they do not do. You know that. That's how bad it's going to get. That they're going to have to intersect, which is what's going on right now. That's how bad it's going to get. They'll just say even the elect will be starting to be destroyed. And so the seraphim will have to come down. That's them ships that you've been calling UFOs. That ain't necessarily foreign.
Right.
You understand? That's how bad it's getting. See, but it's sort of like these people, put it this way, to put it in layman's term, their asses got to get kicked for them to honor their mothers and fathers. And if that's what it takes, that's really where we're at now. It's not coming to that. That's where we're at now. It's just accelerating. So, the deal of it is, how do you start preserving some of what you got? Start off with honoring your mothers and your fathers so you can lengthen the days on the earth. How about that? Start honoring your mothers and fathers so that you can trump the canon law upon which the straw was built. Because nothing else in law and jurisprudence trumps the canon law but the common law. And that Constitution is structured in the common law. Failure to exercise it is an abandonment. And not because I said so, because that's documented fact. And failure to do it, that's on you, because it's your sandwiches. We ain't gonna beg these people to do nothing. The Europeans gonna kick their asses so hard, so thorough, they'll be banging on the door for someone talking about, how come nobody ever told us? They're lying their butts off because this information was given to you for 102 years. It's just that they didn't listen. That's all. Now it's not like what you call the too late thing, but in a way it's too late because all their accounts is already hypothecated. Not going to be, they're already hypothecated. Oh, yeah, but I got retirement. Yeah? See if you get it. If it was 90, it will be cut to 30.
Oh.
And then it's going to be cut even more. And then it's going to disappear. Put them cards in them machines. You talk about robots? I thought that was a screen. It looked like eyes to me. Because it is. I know other thing ain't eating my car, kicking it and everything. ATM say, I ate that mess. They're gonna get in a real panic. Anyway, go ahead. Who's next? Go
I
ahead.
have a question.
Go ahead, bro.
How do we go about nationalizing ourselves?
Well, first is consciousness. See, because it's a birthright. Once you really understand what nationalization is, which is, again, why you're given history and law, because it's really not, there are certain formal processes that may go through where you go through a temple, Morris Science Temple of America, or Order of the Great Seal, something like that. But the real deal is, it's a consciousness, because it already exists with you. It's simply for you, as being Asiatics, to come back to the human family in honor and declare your pedigree, which has been undeclared. It's a consciousness, it's not really paper. All that is for the record, for someone who not to assume you be Christian property anymore, and therefore expendable. Do you understand? Because this is what the assumption is, that you're expendable to their estate. That's why they call so-called black people securities, because they are. They're surety for debt. There it is right there. See, that's what the national debt is. And they come for their pound of flesh. That's what's happening right now. And then our people, not knowing, under the black hoods, they are stock, chattel stock. But you don't have to agree to be. All you got to do is confess your own. Confess your own. They keep resisting that. They keep resisting honoring their mothers and fathers, but they want the benefit of safety. It ain't happening. So it's consciousness. And the consciousness is sincerity and honor. Any paperwork is just formal to counter it. Because when it boils down, if all things are removed from you, you must be able to confess from your mouth, even from a concentration camp, what I showed you. If not, they're going to cook you. And that's really true. Not maybe. That's really true. And I'm saying that, people need not get caught up in the moral argument about what they do, why they do it, and all this stuff, because it's a waste of time. Because it's not what's going on. And I'll close part of it out by just going to their military documents. And most of you are aware of this already. Rex 84, King Alfred, how many of you are aware? Raise your hand, y'all. So, as you understand, just like Brother Franklin was talking about earlier, or why, they tell you. But that's for the karmic release.
Right.
So, in the military operations, King Alfred, they now keep in mind, provided for by Executive Order 11490, October 19, 1969. This executive order was authorized October of 1969 to counteract the minority, blacks, Indians, Latinos, Puerto Ricans, and poor whites in their rise from under the Depression and powers that be, the government, King Alfred. Right? So this is a military manual. And so they tell you what they're going to do. And I want to bring this to your attention. Of course, you already know the United States is a corporation. The Executive Order number 11490, Rex 84 plan and silent weapons for quiet wars has inadvertently been in the hands of the popularly accepted individuals calling themselves black leaders. Since the early 1970s, many have spoken of these military operations, but few have logistically broken them down and disseminated that information to their alluring public. I don't need to go any further than that. You already know that, because they don't really teach these people this. They teach them about racism, marching and praying, keep hope alive, while these people are getting raped and murdered and their organs harvested. So let's go to their security. These are prisons, mostly women's prisons. They are all concentration camps. So just in case you be wondering what them prisons actually are, that's what they actually are. So the central part of the Maxim is broken down into regencies, and those regions are enumerated. So all people in government who are alleged to be government know this, and this is what they refer to in all their operations. All right? So they keep the Negro leaders sitting around talking about colors while they're actually doing military operations. Are we clear? Because our people keep believing them because these guys walk around saying Jesus, God, and Allah all the time. And so the people be thinking that these people are really deep in working for them. They're working for Rome. Keeping these people passive while they get raped. Now, I want you to pay attention to this so that for those of you who hear the so-called black leaders keep talking about that you came from Africa on the other side.
Uh-oh.
And all of these infiltrated organizations under surveillance, that includes any organizations that we belong to, understand they're all infiltrated. So don't look at any of them as not being infiltrated. They all are. So these are all infiltrated organizations, including ours. So don't look at it, as separate. But let's look at the military operations here. Note, at the appropriate time to be designated by the president, the leaders of some of these organizations are to be detained only when it is clear that they cannot prevent the emergency. Working with local police officials during the first critical hours, all other leaders are to be detained at once. Compiled list of minority leaders have been readied at the National Data Computer Center. It is necessary to use minority leaders designated by the president in much the same manner in which we use minority members who are agents with central and federal. And we cannot, until there is no alternative, reveal King Alfred in all its aspects. Minority members of Congress will be unseated at once. This move is not without precedent in American history. Attorney General. Preliminary memo, Department of Defense. I want you to pay particular attention to this military document because they're going to tell you bluntly something that's going to undermine their overseer nigger leaders who've been working in the community with their civil rights marching programs of Afrocentricity. Preliminary memo, Department of Defense. This memo is being submitted in lieu of a full report from the Joint Chiefs of Staff. That report is now in preparation. There will be many cities where the minority will be able to put into the street a superior number of people with a desperate and dangerous will. Pay attention to this and you all read this together. He will be a formidable enemy, for he is bound to the continent by heritage. Read that again, y'all. He will be a formidable enemy, for he is bound to the continent by heritage, and knows that political asylum will not be available to him in other countries. The greatest concentration of minorities is in the deep south, the eastern seaboard, the Great Lakes region, and the West Coast. So as you can see, these people who have been told by their black leaders that the so-called black diaspora are bound to this continent, not to the country, to the continent by heritage. And your leader guys been telling your heritage is on the other side of the water.
That's right.
See why they don't want this information out? Are we clear, y'all?
Yeah.
And this is military operations. Now, but I want to show you something else as we go on this with the report. Now, even before 1954, when the Supreme Court of the United States of America declared unconstitutional separate educational and recreational facilities, racial unrest and discord had become a very nearly a part of the American way of life. But that way of life was repugnant to most Americans. And since 1954, however, that unrest and discord has broken out in widespread violence, which increasingly have placed the peace and stability of the nation in dire jeopardy. This violence, has resulted in loss of life, limb, and property, and has cost the taxpayer of this nation billions of dollars. And the end is not yet in sight. This same violence has raised a tremendously grave question as to whether the races can ever live in peace with each other. And each passing month has brought new intelligence that despite new laws passed to alleviate the condition of the minority still is not satisfied. Demonstrations and rioting have become a part of the familiar scene. The troops have been called out in city after city across the land, and our image as a world leader is severely damaged. Our enemies press closer, seeking the advantage, possibly at a time during one of these outbreaks of violence. The minority has adopted an almost military posture to gain its objectives, which are not clear to most Americans. It is expected, therefore, that when those objectives are denied the minority, racial war must be considered inevitable. And when that emergency comes, we must expect the total involvement of all 22 million members of minority men, women, and children. For once this project is launched, its goal is to terminate, once and for all, the minority threat to the whole of American society, and indeed to the free world. They intend to exterminate. So they're telling you. So they want to be black, they want to play this minority game, keep it up. Because they already got a military plan to eliminate it once and for all.
Wow.
So when you think that they're voting for some president of some country, you're voting for the corporation that's occupying the country. And as you wake up, logically, their stuff falls apart. And so your salvation is dependent on you teaching somebody who do not know. And while they're sitting around playing around with this like it's some belief system, they don't know that the very people they're trusting is plotting to exterminate them. And they're not playing. It's not a matter of attitude, it's military operations, from the top to the bottom. Now, if they don't put their stuff in the state, it's going to be hypothecated anyway. Now, these people can decide to learn, take this stuff serious, and they don't have to, because it is what it is. But the deal is don't get so involved personally that it destroys you. Because you're going to have to be strong, and you're going to have to be stable, and you're going to have to be clear thinking. Failure to do so is a dangerous situation. Preoccupying yourself with belief systems that don't work, that is really dogma, controlled by the Pope through their clergy, who's been faking and getting over for generations, you're going to have to overcome it very quickly and start getting real. So to get real, you're going to have to deal with knowledge. You can't be dealing with emotions and everything else. And they're not crazy. They're running a military operation while we sit around marching and praying, but with beliefs. Like a rabbit in a cage talking about we getting away. Let's run over to that corner. House on fire. The house on fire. Get out, get out. No, this is my house. Let's go up to the back bedroom. That one ain't burning. Any questions, y'all? Are we good? You understand the politics?
Go ahead, rock out. You good?
When he sing those songs, he getting ready to rap. He getting ready to do freestyle. Yeah, let me get this. Go ahead.
When it comes.
So,
Get in the mic.
my other question is, I mean, you already answered it, but I just feel like
this is what it is. Really what you're trying to say, and I do comprehend it, is that we're in bigger trouble than our people think we are. They're really asleep and don't know how dangerous this condition is. Now, so in your mind, you're thinking, how do you reason with someone who just doesn't know this, or really, you know, it's like it's so 180 degrees that the average person just wouldn't believe this thing is this ugly.
Exactly.
Left is right, right
You
is
understand?
left.
However, you don't have time to play around with them.
Huh?
Really, because you really honestly don't have the time. Because the genocide operations is already active as we speak. You know, it's just getting ready to accelerate. Now, this is what is happening on an esoteric level. And not unlike it's telling you in the Septuagint in the Bible that it's getting so bad that there are going to be interventions. As you already know, on the Earth planet, this is actually a school,
Yes.
and we've also been under quarantine for your development. And we've also been under protection, too, at the same time. Now, when you pray, or when you call on the cherubim, seraphim, or the lords that have been guarding this planet, they cannot interfere generally, meaning that you can appeal, but you agreed to come here.
I agree.
So you can't really, they don't interfere. But it's gotten so bad that they're going to have to interfere. All right, because the dark side has gotten, in other words, the priesthood has gotten so ugly that they have invited some negative forces in that have pretty much been indirectly running the planet.
Yeah.
Or, some people will call it Satan, but their concept is not exactly what you think it is. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? So, Manchurian Masons and other Masons from around the world are meeting in Japan, even as we speak, setting up new leadership to try to bring some benevolence back on the earth before it gets destroyed. Because their plan was to destroy the surface.
That's right.
To destroy the surface, get rid of us, and then use the advanced technology that people don't know already exists that's actually ancient.
Yes.
See, everything that the people have now, including computers that they think is modern, these stuff is thousands of years old. The watches that we had millennia ago had measured 19 planets. Now they just measure the moon and the sun. So the timepiece now is moon and the sun.
Right.
Last century before last, moon, the sun, and Venus, which is called Cosmo, which you see crescent and the star. And then millennia ago, 19 planets. But we've fallen that far. And so the dark priesthood make us think that we've advanced when actually we fell backwards. This comes from expurgatorius and prohibitorum, coming from the popes of Rome. They've actually put the world into darkness. Go ahead.
Brother Taj, 26,000, I know it might sound.
Go ahead.
Mike.
20. My question is, since this is a cycle, will we be going through this again 26,000 years from now?
Well, when they talk about 1,000 years of peace, they're really talking about 1,200, some 60 in that area, which is called millennia. That's what you're coming into now. This is where Yeshua talks about, like in the book of Mark, when they say, well, when you leave, how will we know God? He says, surely I must go away, that the Comforter might come unto you. I go to my Father, and you will see me no more. The priesthood keep telling him Jesus come back, but Jesus told you that the Comforter is coming after him.
Right.
So, but then after this, you come into what is called the Aquarian cycle. And the Aquarian cycle is absolute light. And so the vibrational forces of the earth quickens. Anything that's mutant will die. So Rome knows that they can't live anyway because they know that they're a hybrid. Now those amongst them that didn't blend in already know that they're done. So what some of them, they have developed what's called the scorched earth policy. And this is where it talks about in Revelation where they tend to take it out at least a third of the earth with them. So this is the genocide policy, the chemtrails,
Yes.
the vaccines for the children, forcing them in school, giving them cancer viruses and stuff like that in the name of saving them. all of this stuff, you know. So, essentially, and back to point, the real deal is if, and this is, it's a strong if. If we can change the state of mind of the people themselves are self-creators, because they're actually co-creators. But it's the denial and the lack of knowledge of self, whereas the pineal gland, the medulla, etc., is not active. It's because we ourselves have suppressed it by buying into the belief systems given in the name of religion, that we have gone through the depths of darkness. Do you understand? When we render unto Caesar what is Caesar's, nature herself reconnects the wiring. That's the unplugging of the matrix. Matrix means womb.
Right.
This is where the parents patriae that the popes of Rome have claimed on you.
Right.
All right, so therefore you must honor your mothers and fathers, your real mother. Therefore the real mother is what? Your nativity. Your nativity is to be born of the womb. Therefore it's nationality. Your nationality is the nativity. Without the nativity, you have no right or claim of estate. And therefore we've given up our estate to follow after the Romans. That's essentially what it is. If we would just honor our mothers and fathers, Rome would disappear. But he's a reflection of our own darkness. And really that's the honest truth. You know, so it's complex but not complex at all. You know, it really is. And it's just that the priesthood have misused the Bible and Septuaginta and Quran and have told people half the truths for control purposes. You know, and so what happens is to really solve problems of people have information in a ritual form but not in the science form. And this is where Islam comes in. I, self-law and master. Distinguished from Islam, the creed alone, which is not wrong, it's just ritualistic. No different than in the church.
Right.
Because both of them deal with the great circle. And then on both sides, they be lying to the people, not telling them that those are anthropomorphic presentments for children, and that they're supposed to be taken out of the children's degrees and taken into the degrees of adults. And those childish things were to be put aside generations ago. But what they did, they ran the prophets out, and they recreated the dogma systems. And no one has charged them. This is really what's wrong. But meanwhile, now the dark priesthood now is not only starting to sacrifice their people, they're sacrificing the priesthood that are threatening to them, that want to come out with the truth now. It's sort of like they've been going on with the BS for all these generations. Now that their oxes are being gored, now they want to tell the truth. People don't believe them either. And this is really what's happening on the planet. Huh?
The Pope told the truth.
Well, the Pope was, they're under pressure. So you got to look at this. See, the Pope's, the Inquisition operations have not had any serious countermeasures since the Battle of Granada. The Battle of Granada, the fall, they said the Global World Trust, the Alhambra. That's why you see Michelle go to the Alhambra. This was a signal, you know. And then Rahm Emanuel, the Jew, left Obama administration 2010, and the first thing he issued from his desk told you who Noble Drew Ali is.
That's right.
That these people are the Aboriginal people to the land.
That's right.
That North America, Central America, South America, part of the Rock Empire. He's a Jew. He told him. You know, I mean, you know, it was all these so-called black leaders. You understand? Yeah.
We can make a citizen's arrest, right?
Huh?
We can make a citizen's arrest, right?
Say it again.
Hold on, here's the mic. There you go, bro.
I said, we can make a citizen's arrest, right? On who?
Are you gonna make, if you want to make some citizens arrest, no, I'm just saying, if you think about making some citizens arrest, you better go by and get your black leader, guys, and stop thinking about that European.
Treason.
You know, everything that we've been thinking is absolutely wrong. Because number one, you go grab a European, they're going to kill you. Because they're part of the machinery. See, it's sort of like this, we've got to stop, and it's not, I'm not defending the fraud. You got to stop looking at the European and start looking at your so-called black leaders who have been the go-between, who has been protecting this fraud and getting paid to do it and pretending that that European is devils. It's like this. I always tell a lot of brothers who know the truth about Yaqub Israel, Cushitis and the Yucatan operations. And they start talking about, Europeans the devil. And I always say to them, who made them? Well, we did. So who's the biggest devil?
We are.
Since when you made Frankenstein, you've been running. Now it's time to take responsibility. Now what you going to do? Now that's your question and answer. Take responsibility. And it's not that we're excusing the Europeans, but we can't keep on looking past the European and look past the principal who sent them out there. Those are Yaqub's children. Why do you think if you go into European history, there's anyone, just go anywhere around the world and look up the shield of heraldry for all aristocratic families in Europe. And they can be pale as a sheep, but all their shields of heraldry got Moors in them.
That's right.
Because they're hybrids. And the Queen of England is an imposter. And if y'all ain't figured this stuff out yet and start, being prepared to render unto Caesar what is Caesar's, you can go down. Because that's what's going to happen. Because they're planning to kill off the heirs before the heirs can regain the estate.
The masses at large are not.
They will be.
The masses at large are not familiar with how the Europeans got here.
Well, talk cookies. In the book of genetics, it's called Genesis. Chapter 25. How much is 2 and 5?
7.
So in the cycle of Genesis, with a woman they called Rebecca.
Come on.
Rivka.
Oh, yeah. So a woman they called Rebecca, looks like Isaac went to Allah and said, Rebecca's barren, and she ain't got no children and stuff, and can you hook her up? And the creative forces said, yeah, we hook her up. So he hooked her up. And then, so she walked around chilling, with her new Gucci, bubble pants on and stuff. And children was in there boxing. They was getting down. Oh, man, everybody thought she was having an exorcism, right? So she went back to the creator and said, boy, I want to be with y'all, but what's wrong with me? And he said, in your womb, there are 2 different nations.
Come on. Tell a story.
2 different manner of people.
There it is.
One was ruddy.
Come on.
Ruddy means red man.
Red skin.
Red man in Germanic means Rome man. That's the hybrid experiment. They just tell you part of it. And now you got the theft of the birthright, don't you?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. For a bowl of red pottage, don't you? And Isaac was being deceived because he was half blind, right?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. So now you got Esau and Yaqub. They'll say Jacob. And then you got the theft of the birthright. Well, there it is. And you're living it.
So you mean it's not literal?
Hmm? Say again?
The book's not literal?
In some ways it is. And in some ways, because it's really an astrological book.
Yes.
It's an astrology book.
Yes.
So is the Quran. Bible is sun book. Quran, sun reader. And they go together. They're not to be separated.
Hold up.
However, the masses are told that they're to be separated. Why do you think the masses are never liberated?
Because they don't work.
Because they're divided.
The priesthood got
Divide
the
and
Venus,
conquer.
the 4 Venus, Septuaginta, Hebrew, Latin, Bible, etc. That's the book of High Priest of Central America. Europeans just modified it to deal with dynasties and times. not written by one man.
Which one is that?
The concept is wrong, but all priests know that. The point of it is the masses don't know that. That's the whole point. You know, its major contributor is Mordecai Neal, last high priest of the ancient Moabite nation, Central America. And the code system upon which the European has been ruled that causes much of his anger and his vengeance against you is Hammurabi's code law, etc., which is the still existing law of the most ancient ones of Central Africa, i.e. Hammurabi Bey, Hammurabi's code of law, with the children of Yaqub, Cushites, Israel, declared slaves of the Moorish Empire for 360 years, which is essentially the black man, which means the Paleolithic man, i.e. the European. He is a slave. And what they did is overthrew you and handle it. Now what you gonna do? Frankie. Made Frankenstein. Now they've been running.
Ask the question.
What? Don't you tell you the Franciscan Brotherhood?
Yes, they do.
Isn't it the Franciscan Brotherhood?
Yes.
Then the Franciscan Brotherhood give the colonists of the East for conquering the Corsairs, which is the Moors, and they put a statue with our medal of Venus from our star on an iron body with 7 spires and a chain and a bolt of light, and put her in the bay just above Nod and Shepley, which is now called New York and New Jersey, called Statue of Liberty, that stands on the mark of true east, that goes past there and the west side of Florida, which is the true 189 degrees Virgo, far east.
And copper color.
Right, you're standing on it, and they're looking to go someplace else. Do you understand? And everybody knows it but the heirs to the estate who want to be black and getting ready to be made black.
That's actually a question.
Go ahead, sis.
So like you said that Europeans have, like, they're hybrids.
They are indeed hybrids.
So like that means that we.
Let me give you some reference where they talk about themselves. You got an Oxford Dictionary home, right?
We got something.
You got an Oxford Dictionary home?
No, they got American.
You got an Oxford Dictionary?
American
And
heritage.
here,
An Oxford Dictionary.
no, but I got Strong's Concordance, all that describes the Horites as troglodytes, the race derived from chimpanzees.
Yeah, but we want to talk about in Oxford. We talk about, what I tried to do is give people basic available information, because the European will tell you himself.
Yeah, they told us.
Look in an Oxford Dictionary, that's the
Yeah.
blue one. You won't find too many Oxfords in communities where so-called black people are. Other civilized people will have that dictionary, and all scholars will, including other dictionaries. But in the Oxford Dictionary, we'll give you this to look up. And then next time you come back with a book report and write like your daddy did. He's a bragging and stuff. And these two things, I want you to look this up. Look up chimpanzee. Got it? Look up hybrid. Is this an Oxford Dictionary of English language? This is etymology. This is an etymology dictionary. This is, it may or may not be in here. Look up hybrid. Look up hybrid. What you want is just a standard dictionary. That's an etymology dictionary, which is also should be in your library. All right? You got that? Any scholar, you should have at least around 13 dictionaries, including etymology on the English language, Hebrew, Latin, Oxford, Webster's Dictionary, 1920, 1820, 28, etc. Read hybrids.
You want the microphone?
Mike.
Half-breed, mongrel, half-breed, mongrel, also fed.
This will be 10, 19 now. So, right, hybrida, hybrida, offspring of a tame sow and wild boar. One born of a Roman father,
Wow.
that's another way they tell it,
And a foreign mother.
of a freeman and a slave. They're talking about themselves. They're telling you even there. Who's the Roman? Genesis. Right, remember? He's a hybrid. What you'll find in the Oxford Dictionary says, and they always put the denotation lower, and they put the connotative introductions up in your first order. And it'll say, at best, we Englishmen are but heterogeneous hybrids. What is a heterogeneous hybrid? Two different species mixed together to make another species.
Right.
Why do you think the sun seeks to kill them all the time? But yet you need the sun to live. It's a contradiction of life, isn't it? But rather than accept that we say that, we'll send you to the dictionary and let you see what he tells you about himself. That's the reason why we go to the dictionary. Go ahead.
That's why I see him big. Sorry, I don't have it right.
Here you go.
Yeah, keep yours, Taj. You go get this.
I was saying that's why C.C.y Bey was saying in the beginning of Circle of Life, in the inside cover, that it's important for us to know the cosmological movements of the planets because their energies will affect us in a way where we'll make decisions where we'll start creating hybrids when we could have probably had a better decision.
And not just that. Let's say this, and we wanted to close out because it's 11:45, so we went over to make up time. Listen. What we're going to do in the near future is give you a basic synopsis of ancient Hikkupta philosophy, which you will call Egyptian philosophy, translated into what you would call modern Moorish Latin or English, etc., for the common people to comprehend of what all priests know. And understand that the Germanic or the German tribes, Dutch German tribes, called German, the study of the ancient Asiatics, and most specifically the Nanda, the Mauryan, Nanda, Gupta dynasties of ancient Sindh that you call India today. It's not India. Peru, right? That ancient Kabbalistic knowledge from which all the major religions have their origin will give you proof that all priesthood are corrupt. And what they've been telling you is only anthropomorphic for children, and what they've been doing for their selfish selves is keeping the Kabbalistic knowledge to themselves and empowering themselves. And what they have done is that they've formulated political systems taking on different titles when the common people don't know that the presidents, the congressmen, all are master masons, high priests, and all have the Kabbalistic knowledge, and they're all dirty. And that's what's wrong with the planet Earth.
There you go.
And none of them love the prophets. All of them been the murderers of the prophets. But they've been hiding behind the prophets' names and then hiding behind the devil and telling you the devil been doing this and taking your sandwiches when it's really been the high priest through the IRS and etc. been raping you. And that's the truth. Anyway, thank you all for coming out to the house of Reawakening Minds. Thank God, Dr. Naila Gilliam for maintaining the integrity of this platform, etc. For those of you who are listening, and she's doing the best she can, to keep the house rolling. So I know y'all got Gucci sneaks and stuff. So make sure you send her a few notes to keep the house open, etc. And if you have any questions, send them in, and we'll answer what we can, etc. And also, we want to thank Dr. Naila for sacrificing to always make a little something for us, always good food. To hang in there while we're here. And also for you all, some of you are aware, but I don't even know if she has any left. Her book, You got your
I
book?
have my book, yeah, and I have organized.
Can you give a minute for us and give us one report? Because you usually do it, but I know you've been tired and everything, but we ain't tired of hearing it about hair care because I saw you. So, you know, she had a shirt. Come on out, let's see this shirt. And tell us about your book. And those of you who don't have a book, do yourself a favor and get your book. It's good bedside reading.
Undercover, she's good.
Yes.
She's an undercover writer, really, I'll tell you about that.
Islam. Yeah, this book will actually, I got enough poems to do another book now, and I'm thankful that Brother Taj wrote the foreword to the book, and I know how many of you know he's an awesome poet.
I do.
Oh yeah,
I know.
Some of this, you know, I know he's a poet, and he's a vocalist. Yeah,
Absolutely.
but yeah, so back in 2011 and all that stuff.
Back in the day,
I think in 2011, 2012, I used to stand up here with all this notebook paper that ended up being this, and I would read some of the poems from it.
Sister Naila, come on front.
I want to.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Retirement is not being good to me, y'all. My back hurts. No, I don't need a chair. I need to stand up. He wants me to do a poem. I'll do a poem. There's a poem in here called Hair Cares. Okay. It says, remember the time when the only thing on her minds was how long or straight our hair was? So much so, we'd do anything to get more, even buying fake hair from the corner Asian store. We couldn't see our true beauty. No one really did, so we valued each other by the hair on our head. But not just our hair, but skin and features too, because a standard was set that we tried to live up to. Male and female, we bought the lie, put it in our heads. Not realizing years later, many would be dead from the very thing we thought would make us so much more. We became victims of a chemically waged biological war. We didn't know our true worth, so some thought they could score. And manufacturers began reeling us in more and more with, your hair needs more shine, and your hair needs more swing. And we got just the product that could do the darn thing. But now, we realize that we are of royal stock, and the true beauty suits us to a T. And the lips, tits, butts, and tans that some have to buy, those are things that we get for free. And we're through with relaxers and products that burn. We're probably wearing our hair natural because finally it's our turn to rock our locks, twist outs, and froze, and yes, even our little washing guns. Does anyone else see the transition? Can you feel it in the air? That after all these years of chemical bondage, there's been a revolution in hair care. I think it's on page 41 or something. I don't know. Is it? And I guess I'll read this one, but I have no glasses on, so I'm going to struggle. Oh, gosh, no. I'm going to get my glasses. I just like to read this one because all right. It's called Poetry is the Music of an Undercover Writer. And this is called Did I Mention? Some of y'all heard this before. Did I mention?
All right.
Did I mention?
Islam.
Okay. Did I mention my ascension takes me out of your detention, or that my lower inhibitions have given way to precognition, or that I've opened up my eyes so that I see behind your lies, and it's not hard to recognize that you're the devil in disguise. See, you work hard for centuries enslaving the minds of folks like me, and it's the fear of this exposure that keeps you delaying full disclosure. How do you sleep at night knowing your deeds have never been right? And regardless of your 1,000-year plan, soon you won't have a leg on which to stand. All around you, the indigenous are waking, and our birthright back we're taking. Yes, you really should be shaking. Can't you feel your matrix breaking? Excuse me, But did I mention, this is not about dissension, so please don't try to make this something that it's not. The time for righting what's been wrong is getting closer, won't be long, before my inheritance you stole, karma will make you restore. And oh yes, did I mention, I am war.
All right.
Hey.
But anyway, the book is 10 notes if you buy it in person. It's 15 if you order it online.